Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, welcome back. It's yours truly, another live broadcast of the Kev Baker Show, right here on Truth Frequency Radio Network. Yes, hope we're all ready for the Hump Day show. I hate Wednesdays, and I really, really hate Wednesdays when Anne's working late, because it just seems to knock absolutely everything out of kilter. She's just coming in the door right now as I'm, I suppose, halfway through my shift. I done the daytime stream earlier on with some good fun today over in the safe space. It was really good. Some interesting stories, some outright bizarre stories, and some things we're going to be getting into here today as well. But yeah, it kind of knocks things all out of balance. The equilibrium is all wrong. So perhaps the first segment of today's show, it might be a bit bumpy. It might be a rough ride, but I promise, as the show goes on, it will get better. I know it's going to get better because we're going to be opening up the phones again for all of you out there today. But to open up today, I've got a couple of things I want to get into. One major part I want to get into, as you can see by the title of the show, is that it's no longer is a bug's life. It could be that it was a bug's life. And the old bug, some see them pesky, some find them creepy crawly, and some actually find them, interestingly enough, bizarrely enough, attractive. Well, we're going to be getting into what was once the bug's life and what the bugs can look forward to now in just a moment. But before I get there, I want to thank everybody for turning up today. Always makes my day. And if I go over to the home of the Kev Baker Show at tfrlive.com, it's very quiet in there today, starting very slowly. I didn't even get a chance to share the show out, so that might have something to do with it. We've got Kenny in there, we've got Bam, we've got the Wookiee, and we've also, of course, got everyone filing in over at YouTube as well. And TFR, it goes out on iHeartRadio, TalkStream Live, TuneIn Radio apps. So it's going all around the world. So wherever you are, whenever you are, a big, huge, warm welcome to the Kev Baker Show, coming to you live from Glasgow. And it's Glasgow where we're starting today. Because as you know, I'm living in the UK's, and I'm so proud of this, as you can tell. It's amazing. Sometimes wake up each morning and it's the first thing I think of, because it fills my heart full of pride and joy and it makes me want to continue for the day ahead, is that I live in the UK's first smart city. That's a great thing. It truly is. And with that comes wonderful and weird stuff as well. Mostly weird. And I tell you, it's one thing taking a journey on a bus in Glasgow anyway. And 9 times out of 10, if you get a bus in the city centre of Glasgow and you're going here, there or anywhere, and it's like an intercity, it goes round the housing scheme, stuff like that, it can be mistaken, it truly can be mistaken for the fact that you might have slipped onto the wrong bus. Maybe you're going to an audition for The Walking Dead or World War Z or something like that. Getting on a bus in Glasgow has always been an experience. And you always find that there's one character on the bus. It might be a drunk old man. It might be somebody who's had maybe just a little bit too much drugs that day. But there's always going to be somebody who is the centre of attention on a Glasgow bus. And if you can't find that somebody, panic, because it might be you, okay? Well, bus journeys in Glasgow are set, if you can believe it, to get even weirder. I know you're thinking, well, how can it get any weirder than that, Kev? Well, some of the drivers, don't get me wrong, 90% of the drivers, 95% of the drivers, they're the salt of the earth. They are proper Glasgow people. But then there's this other 5%, okay? And it's as if they're doing you a favour, letting you onto their bus. It's as if maybe they got up in the morning and they stood in a big pile of dog poo, and it's just like they're having the worst day ever, and they want to take it out on all the customers. You get it. It happens everywhere. And they in themselves sometimes can provide that character on the bus. But it's all set to change, folks. Yes, it's all set to change in the smart city of Glasgow, because we are now to look forward to... Oh, there it is there. Yes, there it is there. Scotland's first self-driving bus is being tested ahead of its launch next year. Yeah, as if it wasn't crazy enough in Glasgow on a bus anyway, now they're going to be driverless. But trust me, this is a recipe for disaster in Glasgow because there's always one hero. Yeah, somebody who wants to make a name for himself, and it's usually a he. But you just know they're going to start playing about with something. You just know they're going to be taking a laugh way too far, and something's going to go horribly, horribly wrong here. So before we get into it was a bug's life, let's just see what it's saying here about these things that are set to bug people in Glasgow from next year. A self-driving bus has been put through its paces in Glasgow ahead of its planned rollout on service across the Forth Road Bridge next year. Well, that's not so bad then, because at least it's going to be like just going across a bridge, back and forth across a bridge. That's all that they're trusting it to do by the sounds of it. So the prototype travelled around the SEC car park during an autonomous vehicle trade show. And Stagecoach plans to introduce self-driving services next year and autonomous buses, which will require a driver to be present inside the vehicle by law and are set to be road tested without passengers on board by the end of this year. That's like 1 month from now, okay? They're going to be tested. Everything will be good to go. So we're finding out there will still be a driver there. So they're not totally removing that character from the equation. But I just wonder how successful this is going to be. For me, I don't know. I just see disaster written all over this. You know me, I like technology. I find it cool. I like that we're moving into this kind of Jetson Star Trek age. But at the same time, I still see the problems as well, right? So it says, the bus did kill many, but it saved a lot of time. Exactly. And of course, don't forget, it's bound to be environmentally friendly and Greta approved. Yes, indeed. So just see what it says down here. The 5 automated Stagecoach buses will each seat 42 people and expect to carry 10,000, it should say terrified passengers a week between Ferrytoll Park and Ryde and Fife and the Edinburgh Park train and tram interchange. Whistles is in Fife, isn't he? I think we need to get Whistles to go and like do a live experiment here. Like go and get himself on the driverless bus. Whistles hates robots. He absolutely despises them. So that in itself, just him getting on the bus kind of thing, that could be quite amusing. It could well be. So yeah, that's the latest kind of craziness to be coming to us in Smart City Glasgow. We could probably do a week of shows about some of the innovations, some of the smart conveniences that are being installed in the city, you know, to make our lives easier and better and a whole lot smarter. Yeah. I hope my sarcasm comes across on the radio because I don't see anything smart or intelligent about any of the stuff that's going on, unless you look at it from the controller's point of view. And that's what it's all about, because it's all about data. It's all about control. But we're going to move on now to It Was a Bug's Life. Yes, indeed. So what are we talking about here? What is Kev going on about? It Was a Bug's Life. So if I come to this here and I want to try and find the first story, I've got so many tabs open, folks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not even going to count them all. I would say I've got about 25 tabs open, and you'll probably be lucky if we use 3 of them in the first hour of the show, because we'll get talking and we'll have a laugh and we'll get discussing some of the serious aspects of It Was a Bug's Life, and then some of the more comical aspects of what a bug's life has become now as well. Okay, you know how we roll on here. It's that bittersweet. We give the serious and the silly at the same time. It's how KBS rolls, and it's how you all love it. So today when I was on the safe space, I started off with this story here, and I'm going to share it for all of you. And if you were listening earlier on today, I apologise for the repetitive nature of this part of the show. But I only apologise because of the time that you may think you're losing. I don't apologise for going over this story twice. Because for me, and it's a big if, and we're going to find out why it's a big if, and as the show goes on. But if this is true, then it could be set to affect all of us. You know me, I don't do the fear factor thing. I don't do the overhyping thing. But when there's news that says that the insect apocalypse, which is upon us, poses a risk to all life on Earth, I think we need to pay attention. Now, some critics of me in the show will say, well, Kev, that's double standards, that's hypocritical. Because when your favourite activist, Greta Thunberg, tells you that we need to pay attention and we need to save the Earth, you just roll your eyes. The difference being this could well be a real problem, folks, and one that I don't know if we can fix, but one that we surely have to be aware of. Surely. And I tell you something else. The bigger corporations out there, they're ahead of the game here. And we'll talk about that as the show progresses as well. But it says, and this comes from The Guardian, a report claims that 400,000 insect species face extinction amid heavy use of pesticides. So it says the unnoticed insect apocalypse should set alarm bells ringing, according to conversationists, people that talk about the environment a lot, versus the conservationists, got it right this time, who said that without a halt, there will be a profound consequence for humans and all of life on Earth. A new report suggested half of all insects may have been lost since 1970 as a result of the destruction of nature and heavy use of pesticides. Now, the report said that 40% of the 1 million known species of insects are facing extinction. It's nearly half of them. Now, the analysis written by one of the UK's leading ecologists has a particular focus on the UK, whose insects are the most studied in the world. It said 23 bee and wasp species have become extinct in the last century, while the number of pesticide applications has approximately doubled in the past 25 years. UK butterflies that specialise in particular habitats have fallen 77% since the mid-1970s, and generalists have declined 46%, the report said. Now, there are also knock-on effects on other animals, such as the spotted flycatcher, which only eats flying insects. Its population, or populations, have dropped by 93% since 1967. 93% within one species. Gone. But conservationists said that the insect populations can be rescued by introducing firm targets to cut pesticide use, which is a no-brainer, and making urban parks and gardens more wildlife friendly. Now, scientists said insects are essential for all ecosystems as pollinators, food for creatures, and recyclers of nutrients. Now, if we stop there, talks about the pollinators. Now, of course, the pollinators, the bees. And how many times have we seen in recent years stories about colony collapse, the bees dwindling their numbers? And as that's been happening, you've had big companies, usually tech companies, biotech, bioagriculture companies, looking into electronic or automated ways to carry out the same function that the bees have been doing forever. Now, the fact that they're investing money into, for lack of a better term, swarms of bees, that tells me that, again, they're way ahead of the curve here. They know exactly what's happening to the insects, and they know exactly what the ramifications are. I'm pretty sure it was Einstein talked about the bees. If the bees go, we've only got something like 4 years left. Isn't that what they say? I think that's what Einstein put it as one point. I could be wrong. But if you take away the things that are pollinating the plants, it stands to reason that's going to have a pretty big knock-on effect. You start having that knock-on effect into the food chain, and then you do start to see it affecting all quarters of life, or all forms of life, sorry. Weird, huh? You know, you talk about something that we should be really dealing with. If this is real. Now, why does I say if this is real? Because as somebody who loves science, it frustrates me terribly. Absolutely gets on my wick the fact that for every one report that comes out stating one theory or one, air quotes, proven fact, there's always at least two to come out to counter it and say the exact opposite. And that leaves people like you and me in a bit of a conundrum, a bit of a position, a bit of a tizzy, does it? Because what do we believe? Do we believe the reports that are saying, yes, there's an insect apocalypse on and it's all doom and gloom and we best do something soon? Or do we listen to the other ones that tell us, no, it's okay, don't worry about it, go back to sleep? And it's much like when it comes to the science around global warming, climate change, all that stuff. You've got, yes, your authoritative scientists that are rolled out at the UN who can make a absolutely cracking case for their explanation as to what's going on. But if you give me a couple of weeks, I'll form an equally academically qualified team that have got equally backed up evidence to show you something completely different. And where does the truth lie? And where does that leave you and I? The ones that they're trying to convince one way or another. Well, I was asking the audience today, and I think this was quite interesting when I went back and looked at this. Because when you're in the middle of doing a stream or doing a show like we are here, sometimes it's hard to watch all of the comments coming through. But I'd ask people to neglect everything you see here and hear about and forget all the stories. What do people themselves think? What do people actually think is going on here? What are you experiencing out there in the real world? Is there a noticeable drop in the insect life, the bugs and things? I shared today from my perspective where I live, and it means nothing. It's just what it is, anecdotal evidence, but we've always been plagued year after year, Anne, haven't we, by like swarms of ants. It's like terrible, and it's nothing to do with our house. It's just the block we live, the area we live in, the ground that the house is built on, and the absolutely shoddy kind of workmanship where they can get in absolutely everywhere. But this year, barely anything. Well, Anne says she sorted them all, but it was notable, folks. Out the back, you used to see all the little kind of little hills and the openings, and get it. You know what ants get up to? Wasn't there this year. And then, you know me, you seen me in the middle of the summer. I was looking rather bronzed, shall we say. I spent a lot of time out the back in the garden. I did see bees, don't get me wrong. I seen the odd bee, absolutely, but nothing like what you used to see. And again, that's just my one small little corner of the East End of Glasgow. I wonder if you have thought about this, if you've even paid attention. Maybe now that I've noticed it, maybe now you're going to start actually noticing yourself one way or another. You know what? There's something going on here. It's not me saying that the bugs are disappearing. I'm not telling you, have a look around, you'll see the bugs are going. This is just something we're going to have to work out for ourselves for the time being. Because there's reports one way and another. For example, if we come over here to phys.org. And phys.org says that scientists, this is from today, and the first story is from, in fact, this story's from today, the insect apocalypse, a risk to all life. And the story that we're about to go into that says scientists find no evidence for an insect Armageddon, but there's still cause for concern. And that comes from yesterday. So something changes overnight to where now, well, okay, we do need to be concerned. Or it's just a totally conflicting report, which it is. Because it says here researchers who set out to test the widespread theory that the UK is experiencing an alarming plunge in insect numbers have found no evidence for insect Armageddon. So wait a minute. You're telling me the same researchers that are in the paper today, the 13th, okay? And it's not the same professor, sorry. You see this? That my mistake there, my mistake. I've confused myself, okay? The story from today comes from, and it says a Professor Dave Goulson at the University of Sussex, okay? So University of Sussex, they're saying insect apocalypse poses risk to all life, all right? And they're talking about the same report. However, yesterday, talking about the same report, people from York University, okay? And this was the people who'd done the actual study. So the people who'd done the actual study have said it's okay. Yeah, there's a couple of numbers up and down here or there, but nothing to worry about. You know, there's something going on, concerned a little bit. And then in the space of 24 hours, other scientists have looked at the same data, exactly the same thing, and said, well, hang on a minute. You know, this poses a risk to all life. And then it's not just this one report, though. No, because we come back to February and it says, is the insect apocalypse really upon us? And it says in 1828, a teenager named Charles Darwin opened a letter to his cousin with, I am dying by inches, and not having anybody to talk to about insects. I am dying by inches and from not having anybody to talk to about insects. Almost 2 centuries on, Darwin would probably be thrilled and horrified. People are abuzz about insects, but their discussions are flecked with the words such as apocalypse and Armageddon. So the drumbeats of doom began in late 2017. Nothing like hyping up a little bit of the scare factor there, the drumbeats of doom. But then again, if this is true, then we're right to beat the drum. Or are we being conned? It's always hard to tell. So hard to tell. And this is where discernment comes into it. And you also have to step back and look at everything else that's going on in the past 6 months to a year as well. What else has been going on then in the past 6 months to a year, in particular 6 months, say, that's really ramped up, really, really going for it? What kind of propaganda? What have we been told? That the planet's going to end, right? Life on Earth, as we know, it's going to be gone. And we can see, and it means nothing. I'm merely pointing out the fact that in tandem, we've had stories going alongside that saying, well, you know, we've got this other problem where we've got the insects dying off and it's Armageddon. It's apocalypse. So I'm open to both sides of the debate is my point here before I get into more of this. I'm open to the fact that there could very well be a problem that is irreversible with the insects. We could be in a place where we're at the tipping point. If we don't do something soon, we could have a problem that's irreversible. And I'm also very open to the fact that we might be getting bugs blowing up our tuchus. Yes, somebody might be getting a bit creepy crawly and trying to play the old Jedi mind tricks on us. There could be a psychological kind of aspect to all of this to put us in that mindset, that place where we all cry out for a solution. We all cry out and ask for the very thing. Even if we didn't see it coming, it's the very thing that the people that tell you there's a crisis in the first place wanted to do all along. Be it a Green New Deal, be it something the UN comes up with. You see how it works, though? And in the end of the day, whether it's real or whether it's a made-up problem, it certainly adds to the propaganda that is being levied at all of us right now that tries to convince us that the world is a problem. And it was a bug's life. There we go, folks. We're on the break. Yes, indeedy. That was the first fast segment, and I'm sorry if it seems really disjointed, right? But like I say, Anne came in just before we were going to go on air there. So it's a crazy crossover period, Anne, isn't it? Cut me some slack, Anne. Please don't be giving me the evil eye. But yeah, so folks, thank you for tuning in today. We'll be going back to we'll be going back to KFC. Do I broadcast on the KFC network? Yes, coming at you with a couple of boneless shows. Nothing boneless about this show. But yeah, when we come back after the break on TFRlive.com, and terrible, your potty mind. When we come back after the break on TFRlive.com, serious head on now, we're going to continue discussing this article from earlier on in the year, but then we're going to shift it up. We're going to change gears, and we're going to take a look at how the bug's life truly is changing. Things that a bug never had to worry about before are now a thing. It's now a problem. Who knew? Who knew some of the things that bugs have to worry about? I'm telling you. But yeah, after that, what we're going to do is, people in power do not care, says Kit. They have a seat reserved for the Mars ship. Not kidding, those in power have a safety belly ready when the brown stuff hits the fan. You know, sure seems that way. Yes, it's not. It's the microphone arm, dude. Oh, no, it doesn't do it. The minute I tried to make this... Oh, there it is. There it is. It's like, be a really good ghost effect for like a haunted house. Yes. Lisa says, Kev has birdies on the brain. Or birds on the brain. Do I have birds on the brain? Today it's bugs. It's a bug's brain. So, if we keep looking... Blue chickens, obviously, Anne. Blue chickens. Obviously. Come on, Annie. Keep up with it. What other birds do we talk? Oh, brown chickens. We've got brown cows as well. But yeah. No robin. No robin. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Dear, dear, dear. I couldn't agree less. Listen, I'm the boss in this house. I'm just waiting for a shoe to come flying in, folks. But no, when we get back, what we're going to do is we're going to get through the rest of the insect stuff as quickly as we can. And then we're going to open up the phones because I'm really enjoying the phones being opened up. I think you're enjoying it as well. And we can see where it goes. Anything goes. We'll just see what the callers want to get into and we'll take it from there. So we're going to go back to TFR in a moment. We'll finish up. It was a bug's life. Strange, strange world we live in, folks. I'm telling you. Try to think what else we've got here. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we've also got a couple of updates on what's going on in Australia before we open up the phones as well. Because you hear a lot about the stuff going on in California and the terrible fires that they've had there. But because Australians, they roll differently and they're not the centre of the universe like most American media treats America, you know, when it comes to the similar fires down there, it barely makes the news. Well, it does on KBS because I know we've got listeners down in Australia, so we'll have a quick talk about that. And then we will open up the phones. Yes, indeed. Let me just find this here. What's up? Oh, I've got it sorted. All good. All good. Yes, all good in the hood. So we're just getting ready to go back live now, folks. So stand by, and we will get there. Yes, indeed. And if you want to phone up about the paranormal, I don't know, bit of ghosty woo, maybe a bit of CERN, bit of Mandela effects, I don't know. Whatever you want to phone up about. Yes, indeed. Let me check now. There we go. It's time. It's time to go back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Part 2 of today's Kev Baker Show, right here on TFRlive.com, where you get protection from deception. Yes, Truth Frequency Radio, home to approximately 30 plus shows that cover absolutely everything. And I mean everything. And I urge you all to check out some of the other shows over at TFR. You know, a way I used to do it when I was listening to networks out there, Chris and Cherie when they were on other networks, Orion, I remember that one. Oracle was another one. I think I used to listen to Joe Joseph and Popeye on. But from time to time, I would just randomly choose another show. Something I'd never heard before, hosts I had no idea about, just something new, something different. And I urge all of you to try that out this week over at TFR as well. Try something completely new. Maybe a host you haven't heard of before. Maybe a topic you've never really looked into before. Check it out. You never know what you might find when you do these random little things that you might not have done before. So then, let's get back into the bug's life. And we were talking about the fact that, or I was talking about the fact that I honestly can't tell you if there's an insect apocalypse, an insect Armageddon, a mass insect beastie creepy crawly die-off going on or not. Because you've got stories that say there is, and then you've got scientists that look at exactly the same data in one of the cases and say that there isn't. Now, so what I'd done was I looked back in time to the start of the year and I found a story covering the same subject material, but taken not from this one study that's just been done in the UK. So let's go back there. And it was the Atlantic that I was reading from. And it says here, let me see now, 2 seconds. Am I even on the right thing? I think I am. Is that it there? I'm lost. I'm confused. Yeah, that's it there. I think I'm on the right thing. Don't worry, folks. I'm just... ignore me. So then, we were looking at this article here, and it's called, Is the Insect Apocalypse Really Upon Us? Claims that insects will disappear within a century are absurd. But the reality isn't reassuring either. So again, here we go. Mixed signals. Right again, okay? So it says here, the drumbeats of doom began in late 2017 after a German study showed the total mass of local flying insects had fallen by 80% in 3 decades. Now, the alarms intensified after the New York Times magazine published a masterful feature on the decline of insect life late last year. And panic truly set in this month when researchers from Francisco Sanchez Bayo and Chris Wykehuis, what a name, Wykehuis, who knows? Let's just call him Chris, shall we? That'll be a lot easier for me. Having reviewed dozens of studies, claimed that insects as a whole will go down the path of extinction in a few decades. And The Guardian, in covering the duo's review, wrote that insects could vanish within a century. A crisis that Sanchez Bayo and the other dude, Chris, I think it's a dude. Oh no, it could. The other person, believe could lead to a catastrophic collapse of nature's ecosystems. So I spoke with several entomologists about whether these claims are valid, and what I found was complicated. Oh, you don't say. The data on insect declines are too patchy, unrepresentative, and a piecemeal to justify some of the more hyperbolic alarms. How do you even begin to estimate the number of insects in the entire world? How do you even do that, folks? This is like mission impossible, surely. So it must be mission equally impossible to try and predict anything about their numbers, I would think. But I don't know. This is why it's confusing. So serious if it's real. Because like I say, it's got a knock-on effect that will affect everything. You don't need to worry about no climate change, getting hot, getting colder. If the insects go, we've got problems. All right? That's the big problem that we really need to address. It could be the elephant-eating insect or the insect-eating elephant, whichever way you want it, in the living room, and nobody's talking about it. But is it even real? So it says, at the same time, what little information we have tends to point in the same worrying direction. How, then, should we act on imperfect knowledge? It's a question that goes beyond the fate of insects. How do we preserve our rapidly changing world when the unknowns are vast and the cost of inaction is potentially high? I like that there. How then should we act on that imperfect knowledge? Doesn't that describe every kind of topic that we look at? Because even when we're looking at the information that's meant to relate to the topic, is it really what truthful? Is it honest about what it says it represents? Yeah, exactly. Imperfect knowledge. It's a bit like the kind of fluid kind of form that history's taking now as well. The fact that it can kind of change over time and people remember multiple different histories and all of them equally convinced that it was real. And I think to all of those people that multiple histories, the events, the Mandelas, I think every single person that is having a genuine Mandela is as real as hell to them. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, we can get into that later on in the show as well, because that's another thing totally away from the bugs, right? Before I get lost where I'm going here. So says first, some good news. The claim that insects will all be annihilated within the century is absurd. Almost everyone I spoke with says that it's not even plausible, let alone probable. Not going to happen, says Elsa Youngstead from North Carolina State University. They're the most diverse group of organisms on the planet. Don't tell SJWs that, for goodness sake. Dang. Maybe they've just started identifying as something else. Maybe the bugs have had enough of being bugs. I know, I'm getting silly now. So it says some of them will make it. Indeed, insects of some sort are likely to be the last ones standing. Anyone for a cockroach? Any event sufficiently catastrophic to scour the world of insects would also render it inhospitable for or to any other animal life. If it happened, humans would no longer be on the planet, says Corey Moreau from the Cornell University, and that's where I want to stop. That's where I want to stop, because now I'm really confused. Now I am really, really, really confused. Why am I so confused? Well, here we are being told that whether it's a real problem right now or not, if anything did happen to the insects, we're up Pooh Creek without a paddle, right? We're pretty snookered. It's a pretty big thing that we're going to have to face up to. Yet, and go with me here, folks. This is where we need to take off and fly back up to 90,000 feet and check everything else that we've been looking at lately as well, because this isn't the first time we've had to talk about insects on the show. No, it's not far from the first time we've spoke about insects on the show in recent times. In fact, as much as talking about insects makes my skin crawl, the amount of times we've had to keep coming back randomly through different stories to the insect thing is giving me the creepy crawlies. Any of you out there remember not long ago, insects were in the news for an entirely different reason? Anyone remember one of the ways that we were told we could save the planet from the looming catastrophe that is 11 years away, or minus 2 years plus or plus or minus 2 years, depending on which propagandist you speak to? One of the ways they told us that we could really fight back and do our bit for the human race and the rest of the planet. Anyone remember them telling us that we should start eating bugs? Remember that? So, whether we do have a real or not problem with the bug population, just go with me here to see how stupid this is. To see how this is yet another chapter of the book from Idiocracy IRL in real life, right? Because the same people who are champions for the planet when it comes to like the climate change debate and everything else, They're telling us then, and they're telling us that we need to eat the insects that other environmentalists and scientists are telling us, that there's a bit of a dwindling number. There's something happening with the insects, but, hopefully it won't be too catastrophic. But yet you're telling 7.5 billion people that we need to start eating the little things. Now, I know it's gross, right? I remember us all getting grossed out at the time when they were talking about this need for us humans to change our ways and get over the taboos of eating insects and stuff like this, or else we're all going to disappear. But surely if we all start munching on insects, climate change, okay, let's say that will fix climate change. Well, we've got another problem to face now, don't we? Do you see the catch-22 here? Do you see how ridiculous this is getting? Do you? Because if we save the planet from climate change by eating bugs, then we're giving ourselves another planetary-sized problem because there's not enough bugs left. So what do we do then? Do we encourage, more greenhouse gases and things like that so that, there's more green stuff around and it'll encourage the beasties to come back? Whoa. Hey, hang on. Now, if you're getting confused, you're meant to be. My job's done. Because these things ain't meant to be put together, right? You're not meant to talk about these two separate ways of saving the planet and putting them together and realising, hang on, do these people even know what they're talking about? Are they mad? Yeah, they're mad. We'd be better off letting the bugs run the asylum at this stage, folks. In fact, maybe the bugs have given up on us. Maybe they're just gone underground and they ain't coming back until we sort ourselves out. Maybe they're doing shows right now going, have you seen the state of what humans are getting up to? Have you seen what they're doing? They're not even like the same humans, or at least they don't think they're the same humans that they were when we used to kick about with them millennia ago. Now they think that they're all different identities of humans. They're back-crap crazy. We're staying down here until that lot are gone. That's probably more likely because if they're not dying from pesticides, if they're not suffering because of the magnetic changes that are going on the planet, if it's not the 5G or any of the other electromagnetic frequencies that everything on the planet's bathed in, if it's not the chemtrails that's coming down and poisoning the planet, then they've got us to worry about eating them to death. This is crazy. Now, I can tell you, and I'm pretty sure I speak for everyone in the KBS audience, whether you're at TFR Live, whether you're over on iHeartRadio, TalkStream, you might be at the YouTube simulcast. I don't know. You may be listening to this in the archive, but I think I can safely say for every man, woman, child, and any other identifier that people might go by out there, I'm pretty sure none of us are ready to start eating bugs just yet, right? Especially now that we know there could be a problem. There could be a scarcity. Just when we get a taste for them, the bugs are gone away. What's going to be then? Bug wars? They want us fighting over bugs. Is that really where they want to take us? That's how they look at us anyway. You see, that's another part of this as well, To these people that run the planet, they're a different species from us altogether, and they literally view us no better than the bugs we're talking about here. That's why sometimes it's almost like they're laughing at us when they're telling us that we'll need to eat the bugs, because you can guarantee if that ever became a thing, do you think these people would be eating the bugs with us? Do you? I don't. But it says here, on a morning in the not too distant future, you might toast bread made with cricket flour, drink a protein smoothie made from locust powder, and eat scrambled eggs made extra creamy with the fat from mopane caterpillars with a side of mealworm bacon. That meal will give you 4 times the iron, more than 3 times the protein. Oh, mouth-watering here. And more key vitamins and minerals than the bread, smoothie, eggs and bacon you eat today. And all while saving the planet. No way you'll eat bugs, you say? Well, sorry to break this to you, but if you eat chocolate, pizza and spaghetti, you're already eating insects. And worse. The US Food and Drug Administration allows 30 more insects or 30 or more insect parts and some rodent hair in every bar of chocolate. Nearly 2 maggots in an ounce can or a 16-ounce can of tomatoes or pizza sauce. And up to 450 insect parts and 9 rodent hairs in every 16-ounce box of spaghetti. Nice. Folks, if you don't believe me, I urge you to check out the show that I done with Ryan Gable. Maybe last week or the week before. It was all about some of these ingredients that we're learning about here. Yeah, so we're already kind of on our way there to being the bug eaters that they want us all to be. And if you're to ask people in Britain if this is going to be a thing, unlike me, well, you wouldn't believe this. Maybe you would. A third of Brits thinks we'll be eating insects by 2029. Research finds belief that scoffing crickets or worm burgers will be commonplace. Loving it. Nearly a third of Britons believe insects will eventually be part of the mainstream human diets in the UK amid mounting challenges in food production, new research reveals, with UK farmers facing pressure from the climate crisis, pests and plant diseases, alongside the need to boost productivity and compete with imports. Research released on Monday claimed that 32% of British adults think that regularly tucking into cricket snacks and buffalo worm burgers will become commonplace in 10 years. But we're meant to be in the midst of the insect apocalypse. I think they're talking out a hole in their behind, folks. I have no idea. This is just like the weirdest you can... It keeps going on though, right? It does keep going on. But before we go to the break, I need to take it somewhere else. Somewhere else that none of us are going to be comfortable with. Because it may still be a bug's life the way that it remembers it. It may not be going, or they may not be going the way of the dodo just yet. But there's some aspects of a bug's life that's definitely changed. For example, I mean, look at that. They need to worry about predators putting them in food. But they also need to worry about something else as well. Something I never thought would become a thing, but it's become a thing. And that is the fact that some people out there find these very same insects that we're talking about, the ones that we could eat to save the planet, or the ones that if we do eat enough of them, we're all going to die and the planet's going to be struggling anyway. Some people don't find all this talk of beasties, creepy crawlies. In fact, some people kind of like it.
When I'm feeling insects crawling all over me, it creates this sensation that washes up and down my body that's just pure pleasure. And feeling that closeness with these creatures makes me feel wonderful and loved inside.
Yeah, it was a bug's life. Yeah. I tell you, folks, it's a strange, strange world that we live in. And like I say, maybe this is where all the bugs are going. Either they are fleeing any close proximity with humans, or there's literally humans out there that are stealing them to do some nefarious things. I know. You think I'm making this stuff up, right? I'm not. And that clip you heard there, I'm not going to play any more of it, but it comes from Vice. And it's talking about something called formicophilia or formicophilia. And it's a largely unknown fetish where people incorporate insects into their happy, fun time. Now, hey, you know me. I've always said don't knock things till you try it. And if somebody is an adult and they're not harming anyone else, crack on. I don't know if maybe the bugs might have something to say about this or not, but yeah, this is a thing. So we're being told that these bugs, I tell you, man, the bugs are like, could it be that the bugs should win, like, they can't win person of the year, or can they? Can they identify as people? Because I'm saying that the bugs should be like Time People of the Year or Time Person of the Year or something. Because I tell you, man, they're at the centre of everything. If they're not going extinct, then we're being told we should eat them. And if we don't decide to eat them, we have to live with the fact, and we have to tolerate, and we have to be very accepting of the fact that there's people that are falling in love with them. What the heck, folks? It used to be, it was a bug's life, you know, simple. Not a lot to worry about. Buggish type things. Not anymore. No. If we're not eating them, we're going to be making happy, fun time to them. And if that's not happening, then I'm sure, at this point, I don't know anymore, folks, because that's the weird thing. And I'm looking at all of the different tabs that I've got open here. I'll give you a look at some of the headlines before we go to the break, and then we'll shift gears after the break. I make happy, fun time sex toys out of insect penises. Artist Joey Holder spent 4 years 3D printing human scale sex toys for out of tiny insect penis templates. So we spoke to her about it, and that comes from Vice. I can feel I'm looking at me. Exactly. I had something pulled up here for formicophilia. That's it. Formicophilia. It's a form of zoophilia. I had no idea. No idea. Anne's laughing at me. I have no idea. That's not even all of it, because there's another thing like paraphilia. Paraphilia is a thing as well. Insects as sources of sexual arousal. The peculiar pleasure of ants in your pants. Oh, man, it's like, I don't know, this is like commentating on the end of the world. How much more ridiculous can it get at this point, folks? This is a PhD writing this stuff. Paraphilia entails being sexually aroused by objects or situations that are not deemed normal by society. All right, so zoology and the formicophilia. Right, sorry, I get it right. So the traffic cone, it ties in with the paraphilics, right? That's in that. Folks, the world's broken. That's the point of today's first hour of the show. I don't know if we're coming or going with the whole insect apocalypse. I had a whole heap of stuff about an hour before the show. When I came off like today's stream, I had extra stories about the kind of fear factor. The insects are dying away. And then I found that one from New Scientist that totally threw everything up in the air, because it told me, well, hang on, no, there is no evidence for what you're about to talk about, Kev. But then when I started looking more into the insects, and don't get me wrong, I had some of the weirder insect stuff already pulled up. But it's just bizarre. It's just weird. And yet another example of the weird and strange and wonderful and yet creepy times that we live in. So is Kev Baker telling you that there's a problem with the insects? I'm telling you, the insects have got a problem. Either they are dying off, either we are about to become their biggest fear, predators, and maybe, just maybe, there's enough people out there doing nasty, naughty, fun time things to them where they don't want to have any part of us anymore. I don't know. Because of these kind of, what did they call it? Was it interchangeable knowledge or fluid knowledge, something like that? I can't remember how they termed it. But yeah, crazy times. And when we come back after the break, I'm going to open up the phones. You can talk to me about this. If you're in Australia, and I know we do have listeners down in Australia, I would love to hear from you about the fires that are going on down there. Because everyone seems to be talking about the ones that we've had in California recently. And I'm not criticising that. Needs talking about, but not enough people talking about what's going on down under either. But I think that's probably just a symptom of the fact that Australians, they roll different. It's just another day in the bush down in Australia, right? So we'll be back after the break, folks. Don't go anywhere. That's the end of the creepy crawlies. The only one you're left with now is me, and I'll be right back after these short messages. Oh, dearie me. Ever, like, I was going to say, do you ever do a show where, like, when you've done the show, you might need to go for a shower or a bath to get rid of that crawling, creeping sensation? Wow. Yes, one, Polly. Insects. Unbelievable. I don't get it. It's wrong. What is wrong with people? Listen, if people choose to eat insects, that's one thing, right? But if you're, like, putting on some romantic tunes and dimming the lights, getting the candles out, you know, setting the mood, and then cracking open a jar of earthworms, there's something far wrong with you. Absolutely far wrong with you. So what are people in the chat room saying? Rendered June bugs are a wonderful lubricant replacement. That sounds like somebody that's actually very knowledgeable on this, called Cannabis Resolution. I like the name. Good name, man. Or women. Jimbo, how you doing? We've got Lisa. Polly's in there cracking the jokes. Centipede peed on me. Oh, come on. The dude, I'll get to your request right after the show over on Proton Mail. And if anyone else wants to join the Discord server, now's the time to do it. Email me over at kbsdiscord@protonmail.com. Just tell me your YouTube name and give me an idea. If you do have an idea of your Discord name, I know some of us are just starting Discord, and it's the first time she's ever used Discord. I'd say half of the people in the Discord server, it might be the first time they've ever used it. Jojo says it's official. Your mind is warped. Well, thank you, Jojo. Thank you. I've been awesome. I have been working very hard to get that kind of accreditation, because you see, to have a normal mind in Woketopia, that's a dangerous thing. That's when you do start like acting like the woke, not us, the awake. And that's something else you need to. I've seen people mixing that up as well, like, because they're into looking at stuff we look at, they say that they're woke. But not woke for me is something completely different. Something that's borderline. You need to be going and getting your head seen to when you get into the realms of wokeness. But there's a awake. I think that's where we all are here. And I think when you're awake, I think the best you can hope for is just trying to make sense of the madness that's going on. Because there's certainly there's no solving it. There's no, like, winding it back at this point. How do you put people having sex with insects back in the jar, if you pardon the pun? You can't. You just can't do it. How much more? It's like I've said to Bill Bean before. I've said it to umpteen people. How much more weird can stuff get before it has to change? Because if it doesn't change, I do not know where we end up. I do not know. I just don't. And I get it. I laugh along the way, and some of it's so comical. But the more I laugh, that means the more I'm actually struggling to cope and deal with what I'm seeing around me. The world is losing its crap, folks. And again, that's not me saying that to generate fear. I'm not telling you if you pay me $10, I'm going to fix it for you. Just look out the window. Look at some of the stories that we talk about on here. It's crazy. And then add to that the fact that we're entering an election period. Oh, my goodness. It's going to be hard going, folks. It's going to be hard going. I'm just checking the clock there in case you're wondering why I looked a little bit distracted. Just seeing if it's time. PPP, folks. Here we go. Hour number 2 on today's Kev Baker show. A little bit different today, the Kev Baker show. A number of reasons for that. But first up, I want to thank everyone for being here in the first place. And yeah, this is like Wednesday, the hump day, they say traditionally anyway. I don't like Wednesdays. Tomorrow, I've got Scotty Lopez joining me for the safe space. and we'll be having our last KBS of the week. But today I thought I had everything sorted, and Anne's on late shift, so that knocks things a bit out of whack. Me and Kevin, we go and get the shopping, and did I get the dinner on for Anne, or did I just put it on? And I ended up just having to put it in, and Anne has to finish it off. And while I'm doing my whole Mrs. Doubtfire thing, balancing plates here and farting over there and feeding cats and doing hoovering and dusting everything, like I do, just the way guys do, Then I go to find more insect stories to back up the stuff that I've got going on in my head. And I get hit straight off the bat by a story that tells me, Kev, everything you're looking at could be utter bunkum. So that then led me down, not a rabbit hole, and I don't want to say an insect hole either after what we were talking about before the break, but you get me, right? It led me off in a weird direction. So it just led me into this weird thing where it got me thinking that what it was to be a bug once upon a time, and that led to the cliche of, or the saying that it's a bug's life. It was a bug's life, because a bug's life now is nothing like what it used to be when people said it's a bug's life. Trust me. Or maybe just we didn't know some of the stuff that was going on with insects back then. I don't know. I'm not getting back into it. It's weird. It's creepy. It was woo. Or was it woo? Could be woo. Depending how you look at it. It's definitely strange. It's probably the one take of the insect apocalypse that I would imagine a lot of shows in alternative media are going to be talking about in the next couple of days. But I will absolutely make a prediction with you right now. I'll put a bet on with you. You won't hear anyone covering it quite in the same way that the KBS team here did. I say team, that's I'm not only talking about myself in the third person, but I'm just making people up now as well. There is no team. This is it. I've got Anne in the shoe that keeps me in place. I get that. She corrals me to where I need to be. But yeah, what you see is what you get. And like I say, we're all different on KBS. I can guarantee, I don't think you'll be hearing that take on the insect apocalypse on Coast to Coast, and I love Coast to Coast, and I ain't knocking them, but we do things a little differently on KBS. And talking of that, in more recent times, something I'm loving doing, loving it, is opening up the phone lines for all of you out there, and that's what we're going to do right now. And if you're at YouTube, I'll put the numbers on the screen for people to see in just a moment. But for everyone else out there, and get your pens and papers ready right now. If you want to call into the show, all you have to do is call the following numbers. If you're in the US, dial 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. Now, if you're in the UK, we always get callers from the UK, which is pretty cool. We had Alan last night from Scotland. That was really cool. And Alan was a proper Glaswegian. I've got a really, kind of got a hybrid accent now. I don't even know what I've got anymore. I don't sound like Highlands. I don't sound Glasgow. It's like a mongrel. I'm just a mongrel of a Scotsman. But Alan, if you listen to his accent, proper Glasgow. So yeah, who knows who will get phoning up tonight? Who knows what people will want to phone up about? But if you're in the UK, it is 0044 203 393 2871, and that is 0044 203 393 2871. So then, with that said, I now have to remember to add the phones into the call. Remember I done that the other night and that was quite embarrassing? I won't be doing that again. No. So here we go, folks. Stand by. I will add in the phone line. Give me 2 seconds. And there we go. There it is, adding them in now. So yeah, you can phone up about anything you want. I'd love to hear from people in Australia in particular, because I've been taking a look at some of the stuff that's going on with the bushfires down there. Absolutely shocking. It truly, truly is. And of course, Southern Hemisphere, it's going into their summer months right now. And yeah, the BBC had seen a headline on, and it says fresh warnings in the Queensland and now New South Wales. And it says Australian authorities have warned that massive bushfires raging in 2 states will continue to pose a threat despite catastrophic conditions easing. easing after 100 or about 150 fires are still burning in New South Wales and Queensland, feeding off tinder dry conditions. 50 houses were destroyed or damaged in New South Wales on Tuesday, but no lives were lost, thankfully, officials said. And at one point, fires broke out in the suburbs of Sydney. On Wednesday, blazes caused fresh emergencies in Queensland. And then another one from the BBC, and this was just hours later, says Australian bushfires. Pregnant firefighter defends decision to fight the fires. Says a 23-year-old pregnant volunteer firefighter has fiercely defended her decision to fight dangerous bushfires that have swept across Australia. Kat Robinson Williams, who is 14 weeks pregnant, said she received many appeals from worried friends to stop. And it prompted a powerful post from her on Instagram where she said she would not just stay behind. You see, that's what makes people like Kat here and any of our like emergency responders or paramedics, and in particular the firefighters, but the police as well, that shows you these are different mentalities altogether. You look at the snowflakes and all the people around the world the same age, 23 years old. Many of them would have, done the same as Kat. And let's take the whole pregnancy thing out of this for a moment. That's something additional. But, I bet there's even 23-year-old guys out there would have absolutely ran the other way, given half a chance. But then you've got people who want to do this job, and they are such a different mentality. So different. And yeah, this girl made the decision to not leave her colleagues, her fellow firefighters, and she was there with them. And, who are we and who's anyone else to judge her for that? And I get it. I get why people would have been worried about her and concerned. 14 weeks pregnant. I'm no woman, so I'm not really going to start getting into that. But 14 weeks pregnant and working, should she be judged for that? People no, exactly. Don't think she should be criticised for this. And she's gone on to say herself, I'm not the first pregnant firefighter, and I'm not going to be the last one. I'm still in a position where I'm able to help, so I will. Absolutely. Quite right as well. So yeah, if people are down in Australia, I would like to hear about that as well, because we often hear about the other fires in California, and not to take anything away from them, it's not a competition, it's nothing like that. But you tend to find that media in the Northern Hemisphere, they tend to almost forget what's going on down in Australia at times, and I don't get it. I really don't get it. So yeah, let's see what else we've got here. Something we can talk about just before we, or while we're waiting for some callers. I found this quite amusing. And it takes us towards the woo as well. This is where Woketopia and the woo universes collide. How does that happen? Well, of course, it could only happen on Mysterious Universe, right? That brilliant website. Myself and Scott Lopez, we absolutely love the Mysterious Universe. Yes, indeed. So, 2 seconds. I'll just get ready and pull this up here. Where are we? Mysterious Universe. Yes, there we go. Boom. And I need to be able to see if anyone calls in. So yes, I'm talking to myself, folks, but that's okay because it keeps me right. But yeah, this here. So, Mysterious Universe. How does Woketopia meet the woo? How does that even become a thing? Well, Ultima Thule, or Ultima Thule, depending how you pronounce it, it's an asteroid, and it gets a new politically correct, non-bad guys from World War II name. Yes, because even me mentioning the bad guys from World War II could be enough. Could be enough to trigger algorithms and things. Yep, this crazy world. So if you name your baby Hitler, you can't escape the fact that you've doomed him or her, if you're really strange, to a life. Imagine naming your daughter Hitler. To a life of derision at best, hate or violence at worst. However, if you name it Werner, or Werner, you may be hoping they associate him with the Werner von Braun, who pioneered rocket technology for NASA. Not the same Werner von Braun who developed the V2 rocket for the bad guys in World War II Germany. That may have been the idea behind NASA choosing to name a faraway snowman-shaped Kuiper Belt asteroid discovered by the New Horizons spacecraft Ultimate Thule, or Ultima Thule, pronounced Ultima Thule. The announcement press release explained that Thule was a mythical far northern island in medieval literature and cartography. Ultima Thule means beyond Thule, beyond the borders of the known world. However, it didn't take long for the media and neo bad guys from World War II to point out that Thule is believed by some to be the ancient birthplace of the Aryan race. A concept first revealed in the Ora Linda book, which was allegedly discovered in the 1800s and inspired occultist and racist Thule Society and Reichsfuhrer Heinrich Himmler. Yes, the main architect behind something really, really bad that happened during World War II. Is it any wonder that modern neo bad guys from World War II, I know it's funny how I have to do this, it's stupid, it's ridiculous, but hey, that's the rules of the game, adopted this Ultima Thule asteroid as their own. Quote, most people don't hear the word Ultima Thule and think Nazis, Aryan myths, and strange ghostly white people living at the pole. Now, Benjamin Teitelbaum, an ethnomusicologist who researched a Scandinavian band called Ultimate Thule that taps into this racially charged definition, defended the nickname to Newsweek after it was announced in 2018. However, he points out, as you may already have discovered for yourself, a quick Google search says otherwise. 20th century philosopher Julius Evola, whom Steve Bannon and other alt-right leaders like to cite, used the term frequently. And at the time, Mark Showalter, a planetary astronomer at the SETI Institute, an investigator on the New Horizons mission, who led the naming process, said the new name, you ready for it? Ultima Thule has now become 2014 MU69, and it was accepted because we're very, very tired of talking about 2014 MU69. Any name is better than 2014 MU69. Hang on a minute. Right. I read that wrong there, folks. Right, I read that wrong. This was when they were naming it. It used to be called 2014 MU69. I told you it's going to be one of those shows, right? I told you. So, well, almost any name. So they had been calling it that name. We've seen it all the time when they first discover planets or asteroids or anything else. They give it the year, and then there's an indicator. So it says that, you know, they got fed up calling it that, and they went for Ultimate Thule. And it says then, we almost any name on October the 12th or November the 12th, NASA decided enough was enough and gave 2014 MU16 or MU69 a new moniker. Yes, in a fitting tribute to the farthest flyby ever conducted by a spacecraft, the Kuiper Belt object 2014 MU69 has officially named Arrokoth. That's Arrokoth, Arrokoth, or Arrokoth, a Native American term meaning sky in the Powhatan, or, oh, I hate this now, Algonquian language. I butchered it. I know it. I need Scott here to do that. With the concept from, oh, here we go, tribal elders and representatives, NASA New Horizons team, whose spacecraft performed the record-breaking reconnaissance of Acheroth 4 billion miles from Earth, proposed the name to the International Astronomical Union and Minor Planet Center, the International Authority for Naming Kuiper Belt Objects. So to link Akaroth to the asteroid, the announcement points out that the Hubble Space Telescope and the New Horizons mission are operated out of the Chesapeake Bay, Maryland region to the Powhatan people. And again, I know I pronounced that wrong, folks, okay? I know I pronounced it wrong. So it says here, the team used this connection to associate the culture of the native peoples who lived in the region where the object was discovered. In this case, both the Hubble Space Telescope and the New Horizons mission are operated out of Maryland, a tie to the significance of the Chesapeake Bay region where descendants of that indigenous Powhatan clan still reside. Naming an asteroid Akaroth shouldn't be controversial to many people other than those who preferred the Nazi-connected name. Or could it be that nobody really gave a damn about the fact that it had Thule in the title? And this is yet another non-problem that we had to fix in the name of wokeness, because dang, you can't have anyone out there getting offended by the fact that they're using like some kind of name or some word that's got Nazi connotations to it. You can't be doing that, okay? And that, folks, is Woketopia. Creating problems that never existed, fixing things that nobody had a problem with in the first place. I ask you, how many people did you see offended at the time? And I remember talking about this. I remember saying it had a strange name. Myself and Ben Emlyn Jones were like that. I remember saying, is it not weird that they've named it after Thule? But at no time did I find it offensive. At no time was I, like, triggered into the fact that, wow, oh, how bad, how wrong. NASA picking a Nazi name for this asteroid that nobody gave two damn hoots about. I think it's a cool-looking asteroid. That's about the most interesting thing about it. But really, we had to go and change the name because of the woke brigade. Dang. Let's go to the phone lines, folks. Let's go to the phone lines. Yes, indeedy. So we are going to... Let me see here. Let's go to the UK first. I think you've been on the line the longest. In fact, you've both been on the line the same amount of time. So we'll go to the UK. What's your name? And welcome to the Kev Baker Show.
Hello, Kev.
How's it going?
Good morning. Well, almost morning. Evening.
I know.
Good.
It's a bad
Julian.
time. It's a bad time of day for us Brits, right? So what's your name, man?
Yeah, but it's Julian.
Nice to meet you, Julian.
Nice to get through to you. Big fan.
Nice to speak to you.
I've got a channel as well. Lessons for Life. I dropped you a donation a few weeks back.
Awesome.
I like what you're doing.
Awesome, man.
Who says that the Aryans have to be Nazi? Obviously, the Nazis sort of commandeered the name and the language. But if you look at countries like Iran, the Persians regard themselves as the Aryans. Aryan is quite a common name in Afghanistan as well.
I'm with you, Julian. I'm with you. It's like they almost came along.
Things become synonymous, but they've been changed. They've been stolen, and it's almost like they've been appropriated. Maybe it's time we should change that.
You know, I was thinking about this today. I was trying to think of a joke, because we hear a lot about cultural appropriation, and we've just had Halloween, and we were told that you can't put a feather in your hair, you can't dress this way, you can't dress that way, because it's cultural appropriation, right? Well, I was thinking, well, how can you name this asteroid after something Native American then? Surely that's double standards, right? You can't culturally appropriate a name to an asteroid like that. And this just highlights how ridiculous it gets, Julian.
Yeah.
But then, like you're saying here, you've got the Aryan thing with the Nazis, right? But think of all the kind of stuff from the Vikings, the ruins, the kind of knowledge, the occult knowledge that they took from there as well. It was almost as if they cherry-picked a lot of occult information and kind of bastardized it into something they made their own, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. But there's like names always get taken from history. I was in Ukraine recently, and I went to this old-fashioned sort of restaurant, and my friend, who's a Russian speaker, was reading all the Soviet sort of propaganda that they put on the wall, sort of novelty, and he was saying names like Katusha, and it's stuck in my mind as, oh, Katusha is a rocket.
Yep.
But of course, this is the Soviet weaponry that ended up in the hands of the likes of the Palestinians. It didn't occur to me that that's a Russian name.
Same here.
Same with Kalashnikov. We think of it straight away as a weapon, but it was a name of. So things get different connotations over the years, but sometimes it's good to sort of question it and look at the origins of the word. If you want to go really PC, even apparently a word as innocent sounding as picnic had a very racist connotation once upon a time.
Wow.
So
I love looking at words.
Changed,
I love that, Julian. I love looking at words. And you've got
etymology. It's amazing.
I think one of the ones,
But,
is it politics? Is that many parasites? When you break that word down, you know. But dude, tell us about your channel before we go to the break. Tell us about your channel. Tell us about what you're doing over there.
Okay.
And
well, thank you very much for that opportunity. So a friend and I just sort of messed about years ago and would upload anything on the channel, and we decided to call it Lessons for Life. In the last year or so, it's become a bit more structured. I've taken it on holiday and done some vlogs from the Ukraine and Oman, Pakistan, Peru. We went up to Machu Picchu, the big peak. There's some etymology up there for sure. And I spent about a year heading up to Speaker's Corner and chatting with all manner of people, from the likes of flat earthers to radical Muslims to born-again Christians.
What?
I've sort of taken a step away from that. Go on, Kev.
No, sorry. Now, is this your channel here? Has it got lessons for the number 4 life?
Number 4 life. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, and it's got Speaker's Corner. Okay, sorry, I'll bring that up on the screen so people can see that. Yeah, on you go, man.
Oh, very kind of you. Yeah, so I spent about a year up there engaging in discussions, arguments, and I tried to be very fair. People were sort of commenting on the fact that I never got angry, I never got riled up. Even I had there's quite a funny one with a sort of English Defence League guy, very sort of big on Tommy Robinson and England for the English. I did a bit of research on him. I found out he's, like myself, has an Irish background. And I sort of brought this up and said, but how, haven't you got family from another country? And he really, really reacted badly. And I just sort of took it. I said, look, I'm not trying to annoy you. Just thought I'd bring it up. So I tried to bring that. I've done a lot of martial arts. I've worked in security. I've worked with children that have got emotional behavior difficulties. So I'm very big on being calm in any sort of situation. And I think it made sort of interesting watching. But I definitely want to take it in a new direction. I want to do live phone-ins like you do, and just really listen to people that have a different opinion to myself. But it sounds like you and I agree on quite a bit. You're into your esoteric and your sort of hidden history, these sort of things.
Oh, I love the history.
Which is good.
Yeah, I love the history stuff. I love the
do
kind of...
Do you ever watch Michael Tsarion?
Oh, big time. Big time. Architects of Control. And he does the true origins of Ireland and things like that. He's a genius, dude.
Yeah.
Genius. Yeah. Big time. Yeah. And anyone out there who hasn't heard of...
Obviously, I'm very interested in the Irish history.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Anne, my partner, she's got Irish blood in her.
And Scottish history.
I'm told
that. If you've got Scottish blood, you've got Irish blood.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say that. I was going to say that there.
Scotty were a tribe from Ireland,
Ah, you see, very good, man. Listen, I'm going to drop a link for your channel.
You go deep enough, it Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you
No,
very much. Very kind.
Julian, thank you, because I mean,
Do your
listening.
thing. Whenever when you got the lines open, I'll call in. I love phoning.
Awesome, dude. Awesome.
best,
We're going to the break.
favourite type of
We're
radio.
going to the break now, Julian, but I'll be
Nice
back
one.
in 3 moments.
Thank you,
People,
sir.
check out Julian's
you.
channel, Lessons Number 4 Life. We'll be right back.
You're very kind. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Very much.
There we go, folks, and I'm sorry I had to cut Julian off there because we're on the break, but yeah, his channel looks pretty cool. Pretty cool. 2 days ago, an election update, George Galloway.
Dropping like flies. Is this the year of the independent, like yourself?
Chris
Williamson.
I'd like to think so, but you know the political system is rigged for the big parties. There's Farage looks like he's about to withdraw a lot of candidates, maybe most of his candidates, and the reason for that is it's not really a fair fight, first past the post, and these national parties have vast resources, and independents don't.
Julian, are you like there within touching distance of like the legend from Scotland, Mr. Galloway? Dude, I'm in love with you and your channel already. I truly am.
At the same time, the political class has never been more unpopular, never, ever been more unpopular. So,
Is this you here, Julian? You've got a rocking beard, man. Rocking beard. You've got that grey bit on the chin as well. That, sir, is a sign of intelligence. I sometimes grow it myself, you know.
it could be that some people.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, folks. Sorry.
But I wouldn't encourage you to bet your house on
Well,
it.
I wouldn't. Shouldn't be gambling anyway.
No.
Would you be in favour of proportional representation? It was
I
on the table
always,
a few years back.
I always have supported proportional representation, even when I was a beneficiary of the first past the post system.
Okay, folks, that is all you're getting from this channel. Why? Because I want you to go and check it out. He's one of our own, the same as Jason, First World Problems, our little intrepid paranormal investigator. And Julian, yeah, man, we definitely need to hook up and do a show sometime, dude. I'd love to hear about some of the places you've been in the world. I used to get a young guy on, and I really need to find out if he's okay. You know, Alec from Ukraine. And to hear that you've been to the Ukraine as well, I tell you, it's kind of disgusting and disturbing, the lack of news we get from there. You know, it's a hop and a jump from the UK, you know, Eastern Europe, and yet all of that's going on literally on our own doorstep, and we hear nothing about it. So my hat is off to you, brother, big time. And I mean that sincerely, and I thank you so much for coming on the show. And I urge all of you out there, go and subscribe to this channel, Lessons for Life. I literally, after 1 minute and 4 seconds and maybe 5 minutes of a phone call, I'm into it. I'm definitely subbing to that, liking that, sharing that. Brilliant. And the more people that do their own thing, the better, folks. The better. And if I can help you in any small, roundabout way I can, reach out to me. I'll do it. I'm not in competition with nobody. We're all looking for answers, right? This is what we do. We're looking for woo. We're looking for information. We're trying to get closer to the truth of all these mysteries. And that's what it's all about. No competition. Far from it. Clyde Lewis and Ground Zero, the #1 show in TalkStream Live paranormal charts. They do everything they can to help people like me and Ryan Gable out. They don't have to. So I think it's the very least I can do to help anyone that's just starting out themselves. So the way it should be, folks. Okay? So we're going to come back now to TFR. Yes, indeedy. Let me check, see if we're live yet. Yes, we are. Here we go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, final segment of today's Kev Baker Show. And before the break, we had opened up the phones and we had somebody from the UK, Julian. Now, during the break with the audience at YouTube, we took a little listen to what Julian does over on his YouTube channel, which is called Lessons for Life. That's Lessons, the number 4, and Life. It's got a blue LOL kind of logo, and it's got the number 4 in the middle. So Lessons for Life. L looks like LOL with the 4 in the middle. I'm just trying to like help people get to the actual channel. I'm going to drop it in the TFR chat room right now. But yeah, fantastic.
Very kind, my brother. Thank you so much.
Oh, dude. Lessons for Life, Julian. No need to thank me. I thank you for going and doing your little thing, your bit. You see? And I'm telling you, if you keep up anything similar to the minute and 4 seconds we've seen there, the way you were speaking to George Galloway, no less, folks, I'm pretty sure you're going to be flying high soon, brother. Absolutely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this for everyone at the TFR chat room. Please, please, please go and check that out. That's somebody that listens to the show here, Julian, and he does his own thing as well. So we've got the phone lines open, and if you want to call in and be a part of the show, I encourage you to do so. As you can see, I like to chill out with anyone. We can talk about nearly anything. Nearly anything. But there's not too much I can't cover. There's some things I know nothing about and can't really talk about, but we'll get there. I'd like to get into some UFOs, some paranormal woo, some Mandelas maybe, some quantum computing. I don't know. I know my mum dropped me a link like during one of the last segments, so that probably means it's good woo. No, you see, this is what happens. My mum misses the first hour of the show, so she sent me a video of driverless buses in Glasgow. Beat you to it, Mum. Beat you to it. We were talking about that in hour number 1 today. Bizarre. Like I was saying, it's already an experience getting on a bus in Glasgow. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. Now that they're driverless, the mind boggles. But yes, so let me get the phone numbers here for people if you want to call the show. Try to find it. Got that many tabs open. Yes, here we go, folks. If you want to call the show, all you've got to do is dial the following numbers. It's 213-233-3998. And that is 213-233-3998. And if you're in the UK, it's 0044 203 393 2871. That's 0044 203 393 2871. And that'll be my mum messaging to say, I didn't know you talked about it. You see, bet you. Yep. She's laughing. But at least she's still laughing, right? So, folks, come on. Phone me in. Let's have a conversation. Let's see what you've got to say for yourselves. Like I say, we can talk about absolutely anything. Anything at all. You can challenge me on the insect apocalypse. I don't know how you can challenge me on it, because even I was like holding my hands up saying, I don't know if we've got a problem or not. And that's the thing. You know, you look at studies one day that tell you one thing, and you go back and look at the media the next day, and there's going to be just as many studies, if not more, telling you the exact opposite. And if you give it long enough, there's going to be studies telling you that one thing is good for you, it's bad for you, it's going to kill you, it's going to... You get my idea, right? How on earth's name are we meant to know what's real anymore? And I think this leads to some of the problems, you know, that we've seen in recent times online, where because we don't know what is real anymore, some people then go from there to believe in absolutely anything. And I tell you, I was taking a little scroll down the old Twitter last night after I came off the show, and I was looking at some of the stuff that people post and some of the stuff that they're into, and I'm thinking, wow, if we could just like take all of these people and like, I don't know, just get them up to the level where the TFR audience, the YouTube audience for KBS is, I really do think we would see such an overnight difference. Maybe not in the world per se, but at least our social media feeds would be cleared up a lot. That's as far as I'm going with that one, folks. It's as far as I'm going. But yeah, phones are open. And this is another reason I'm keen to have the phones open, like throughout the whole show, eventually. I was listening to Clyde Lewis the other night, and it was Ground Zero Media, for anyone who hasn't checked out Clyde Lewis. And he was taking calls from people in the US who were reporting live time on like one of these fireballs, one of these meteors that were going over. And I think it was up in the Illinois kind of part of the US, and people were saying that they seen the light, this light coming over the sky. It was green. Some people saying it was blue, and then video started to emerge of this fireball. Point being, if we could have something like that, at some point it's going to happen on KBS if we keep the phones open. You obviously can't script for something like that. But if I don't have the phones open, then that potential to get some live breaking news, that adrenaline kind of pumping experience where you're taking calls live on the air and you out there are listening to people on the ground giving you their live eyewitness reports. If I don't have the phones open, we're going to be totally shutting off the potential that holds. And trust me, listening to Clyde Lewis the other night, even though I didn't hear it live, I was listening in the archive, the event was past. Scott had been sending me videos as well of I think it was the same event. But even though it was like archived and it wasn't live anymore, listening to it was one of the most exciting pieces of radios I've heard in a long, long time. So yeah, that's another reason I'm keen to incorporate more of the phones, because it allows people out there, real people, real radio. I always used to like having people on the ground, like I mentioned before, Alec in Ukraine. So all of you out there, you're the KBS people on the ground. That's why the phone lines are open if you want to speak to me. All you got to do is call the following numbers, and that is, if you're in the US, it's 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. Now, if you're over here in the UK, not so United Kingdom, it's 0044 203 393 2871. And that is 0044 203 393 2871. Now, talking about things in the sky, there was something strange happened just the other week there. Well, in fact, I'm saying just the other week. This story came out today, and I'll go over this just now while we're waiting for people to call in. Because just a moment ago, I was talking about how there was strange lights in the sky in the US. Most likely some kind of bolide meteor burning up in the atmosphere. Gave an amazing light show. And it turned day into night for a split second. Short period of time. But then over here in the UK, we've had something else going on in the sky. Definitely not meteor related. No kind of bolide, none like that coming in. No lighting up the night sky, daylight. But, get this. A shocked couple say that they saw 2 fighter jets chasing an unidentified flying object. As it says here, a couple have described seeing a strange unidentified flying object being pursued by 2 fighter jets. Neil Greenwood and Lauren Boch were driving home on Saturday when a white streak in the night sky caught their attention. Now, at that point, when I'm reading it, I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe it was just like some kind of shooting star, meteorite, something like that. But it goes on to say they pulled over and watched the object for a few seconds and then heard the roar of fast jets, which appeared to be following the UFO. Now, the couple observed what happened from the Pearl Lane area of Halifax, which is just off the A629 Keeley Road. Lauren, 24, of Halifax, said the white light had the appearance of a comet, but was moving very fast. And she said other vehicles had spotted the same lights and began to flash their headlights and sound their horns. So this is a multiple person event. This isn't just one person that's seen this. And people are obviously, I mean, it's obviously some kind of obvious event if people are trying to catch other people's attention by honking the horn and everything else that's going on. So it says some people pulled over to film the lights. Now, I had a look at one of the films earlier on, and you know what? It doesn't really catch anything that's worth showing or talking about on the radio. But, you know, it's kind of weird because it's really shaky, and you can tell the person's trying to get this thing on camera, but it's just not happening. For me, that makes it a whole lot realer. Have you ever tried filming something at night? Something like this is happening? I mean, you've only got a number of seconds anyway, because you're talking about things that are moving really fast. You're talking about the adrenaline pumping. You're lucky if you can think to get your phone out to film something like this. And then if you do, you know, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be garbage footage. It doesn't matter how good your cameras are. It's going to be garbage because of all the things I mentioned before. And this footage was pretty garbage. Now, to me, I know it sounds weird, but that's better than one of these questionable UFO videos where you're sitting wondering, is that CGI? To the point where you end up just dismissing it because you can't tell what's fake and what's real anymore. This thing was so bad it had to be real. If that's the best way I can make sense of it. It was so bad and so terribly shot and showed absolutely nothing that it had to be real. I know it's weird. It's weird. We all want that really cracking picture of the UFO. I get that. But like I say, this here, I'm going to describe for people on the radio. It's just like random like blobs of light in the sky. But when you seen the video of this, it was just shaky. It was everywhere. It was going down onto the ground. There was long periods where they were filming nothing. So yeah, I don't know what's going on here, but what makes it interesting to me is the fact that we had the fighter jets in close proximity. Now, it could very well be that we're talking about some kind of test craft, some stealth craft maybe that we don't know about, and that could explain the escort that it's getting. But at the same time, we've just seen been released over the course of the past few months, or well, past couple of years in reality, the footage from the Pentagon, right? Where they've scrambled jets, the Nemesis, or is it the Nemesis? USS Nemesis incident? Yeah, they scrambled the jets, okay? So this is what happens when you do have something that is unidentified and flying in your airspace. It's standard operating procedure. If you don't know what that is, you better believe they're going to send something up there. But does it make it otherworldly, or is it something that we ourselves were testing? I would, and again, it means nothing, but I would say probably ours. I don't know, though. There's no way of telling. It's a guess. It says, I really didn't, in fact, Neil32 a confirmed non-believer when it comes to UFO matters, said, I was skeptical all my life, but this shook me up. I really didn't want to talk to anyone about it because they'll think I'm crazy. And he added, people in cars were pulling over, looking up and filming it. And the footage of his mobile phone was taken at 5:16 p.m. on Saturday, the 9th of November. And Neil is certain that the lights were not caused by fireworks or drones. There's a big difference between an object being chased by 2 fighter jets and 3 drones been up there, and maybe 3 Chinese lanterns, or maybe 3 fireworks. I think I can maybe say Neil probably knows the difference between a fighter jet and a firework. I don't know, I'm just hazarding a guess at that. Says, we own drones, and these were too fast for drones. The UFO was out in front of us and above, probably less than a mile away, and the jets were really loud. Now, Neil's mum, Sophie Greenwood, has been appealing on social media for further witnesses to the incident to come forward, and she said plenty of people in cars saw it. I just wish I could find them to back up what we're saying. And we're not freaks or idiots, and I wouldn't say anything about something like this if it wasn't true, because people just think we are muppets talking about UFOs. I want to hear from others who saw it that night. Well, we certainly don't think you're a muppet for talking about UFOs. And I would imagine, if there was other cars in the area stopping, then I'm pretty sure they would have, there's going to be somebody on social media that can back that up. There's got to be. And if anyone listening to this in and around Halifax on Saturday the 9th, if you've got something that adds to this story, either phone me up or try and trace down these people on social media. It shouldn't be too hard. So yeah, we've got Kevin from Minnesota calling in again. Kevin, how you doing, brother?
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you so much for taking my call. I can't remember if I called yesterday or the day before, but it's wonderful now that I'm catching you on YouTube. I'm really enjoying your show. But what I wanted to call in today is you were talking about the Algonquian language group of North America.
That's how you say it.
Now,
how does Algonquian? Algonquian, is that how I say it, Kev?
Algonquian.
Got you. I'll remember that now.
And they should have been classified by their language group more so than by the tribes, because the metaphor of divided we fall, because the Algonquian, in their language, they called themselves Anishinaabe. However, when the early frontiers people and the Jesuits, as they manifest destiny west, they met all the different Anishinaabe people, and they started calling them different names, like the Potawatomi, the Minoman, the Winnebago, the Ojibwe, the Ottawa, the Blackfoot. All of them are all Anishinaabe, but for reasons of division and conquest, they relabeled us. And one thing that I wanted to share in the irony of the new asteroid being relabeled, my ancestors talk about extraterrestrials as if they still communicated with them. I myself have had a few interesting experiences with, for lack of a better term, UFOs, because I could not explain what they were, but also talking to elders, you hear stories consistently where they talk about not only just the little people, but the larger people. And there is a gentleman that I've been trying to hook up with, Brent, for Paranormal Portal, and I'm trying to get him to come out into the public and share his Sasquatch and Bigfoot theories and ideologies, because he believes that they may possibly be of extraterrestrial or extra-dimensional entities. And I'd love for him to share, because the Anishinaabe people, we talk about Bigfoot as a relative in the forest.
You see, I love this kind of stuff. I really do, because whether it's the Native Americans, the Aborigines from down in Australia, you know, I think all of these kind of indigenous local peoples, they've got far much more of the story than any of the textbooks. Any amount of time you could spend like decades in colleges and universities around the world studying history, but nothing's going to take you as close to the past as speaking to some of these people, Kev.
Well, that is one of the biggest discernments about being Native American, because I would ask my grandmother, you know, tell me what it's like to be Indian. And she didn't want to talk about it because she went through those horrific stories of being taken away from her family and stuck into the boarding schools, and was struck in and punished for being Native American. You know, and in its irony, I went to college to get my major in Native American Studies, and then I was supposed to go on to tribal law school, but instead I went to get my teacher's degree to teach Native American Studies. And even though I read all of these books about the Anishinaabe people, it was minuscule to what I learned when I started being involved with ceremonies and rituals and talking to my elders, especially when you start talking to the Meday Lodge, which are the people that are the keeper of the sacred scrolls. And then you learn that the Anishinaabe people, we used to have copper scrolls that the Smithsonian and all of these, and the church, the Catholic Church stole so many, for lack of a better term, sacred artifacts from the Anishinaabe people, that in my experiences with rituals and ceremonies, I have witnessed what I can't call anything else but magic, because my dominant society upbringing in the school system cannot wrap my mind around what I've witnessed. It doesn't make any scientific sense of the things that I've witnessed during rituals and ceremonies. And even myself,
give us one example,
rituals and ceremonies.
Kevin, give us one example if you can. We've got 5 minutes before we go, so I'm just going to hand it over to you. If you need to take it right to the very end, that's cool. But give us an example of what you mean, like something that happened there. And I get what you're talking about. You know, our upbringings, the way we've been programmed, if we see something that we don't really recognize, then it is going to appear like magic to us. It's going to be totally out of the ordinary. So tell us, what was one of these occasions that you had?
Well, one of the prominent ones that stick out in my head is when I started getting sick with my Gulf War illness, my uncle is adamant about getting me some Native American doctrine. And so he brought me up to the reservation to go to what is called a shaking tent ceremony. And in this shaking tent ceremony, what they do is they take an elder and they wrap him up in a blanket and tie him up in a blanket, and they put him in a teepee-like structure that has no door. And they use a wood, it's called ironwood. So it's a really strong wood. And they use the ironwood for the poles, and then they put the teepee, and they put this on top of the elder, and then it's all closed up, and then at the top of the teepee, there's all these cedar bowels that are sticking out of the end of it. And so then you would go to the individual, and then you would ask them your question. The preference goes that this elder will go into a state of the portal, and he would open up the portal and talk to the spirits, the ancestors. And so I go up there and I ask my question, you know, about my illness and my sickness, because sometimes the spirits will give you a formula of what to utilize as far as naturopathic remedies and stuff.
Wow.
So I go up to him and I ask a question, and then the interpreter, he translates it, because I'm not proficient in my language. And so he translates it, and then the elder says something, and I can't understand what he's saying. And then he starts singing. And as he starts singing, it literally sounds like 3 or 4 other voices from inside the tent start singing also. And then all of a sudden you start noticing that the teepee-like structure starts bending and shifting. And if you've ever felt ironwood, it is a very strong wood. And when it started shaking, those cedar boughs on the top that are sticking out start wiggling around like a flag. And then they start going frantically, and then they stop, and then the guy seemingly is singing all by himself again, and then he starts talking to the other interpreter, who therefore explains to me, you know, the recipe that I was given.
Wow, no wonder you said it's like magic going on, and again, that frequency, that vibration, You know, there's so much power in all of that, Kevin. And Kev, please, you know, anytime we've got the phones open, you're more than welcome to call in, brother, because I know that you can speak to so many subjects, and definitely want to get into some of the more stories about the Native Americans' kind of lore, their beliefs, the kind of stories as well, that oral tradition. So I thank you, and I thank everyone for calling in today. And there we are, out of time once again. Stay tuned, though, to tfrlive.com, because Lucky and Dr. Brooks Agnew are on the way with Quantum Connections. So until next time, wherever you are, make it TFR, and Denny, just Denny touch that dial. There we go, folks. Wow. Yes, indeedy. Kevin from Minnesota. Again, great call there. He's been calling up the network since the network was first opened up. I think he's been listening to Chris and Cherie Geo maybe even longer than I have. Because I remember when Chris and Cherie, they had their show, like the Kev Baker show, just Truth Frequency. And they used to do exactly the same as what we do on here. And I remember them having the conversation one day, you know, maybe we should just go and start our own network. Now, if somebody had said to me that day, Kev, you're going to end up on their network, oh, I would have laughed. Oh, I would have laughed so loud I would have cracked several ribs. Yet here we are. What a mysterious way the universe works. And all these years later, you know, people like Kevin, other people out there still phoning into the network, still phoning into my show, all the other shows out there as well. Definitely that truth frequency, yes, there's definitely something to that. Now, I want to thank all of the YouTube audience as well for chilling and hanging with us here today. Do like the simulcasts, really, really like the simulcasts. We've got the Safe Space tomorrow with Scotty Lopez. Scotty loves his Thursday on the Safe Space, so I'm not sure what Scott wants to get into tomorrow. I know, though, he was following the lights in the sky, the meteor that people were tracking just the other day, so maybe we'll get into that. And we'll obviously take a look at some of the examples of Woketopia and Idiocracy, you know, IRL. And before I go today, I've had a request from King Sweet. Now, King was asking me, what's happening with Rudolph the Tall White Alien? Well, we went and had a look the other night. Half Q, please, you call in again. You had a good call. Yeah, you need to call in again. You had a good call, Half Q. I enjoyed that, dude. I enjoyed it. Yeah, so before we go today, what I want to do is, because King Sweet asked me, and because this is what we sometimes do here on the show, is, no, I'm still on that UFO story I had up, so let me just take that off just now. And there is our good friend, Julian, Lessons for Life. Again, I urge you all, please check out that channel. But if we come to our other viewer, First World, no, not First World Problems. I'm not used to doing Jason's promo, like his new promo for the prison place he's going to. I almost done it again now. But I'm going to do that again before we leave today. And I don't, in fact, I'd better not, because I don't want YouTube algorithm to see reuse. Oh, Jason's used it. Now Kev's used it twice. That's reuse. No, I better not risk that one again. So what I will do, though, is we'll go and we'll check out Rudolph the Tall White. I actually enjoy watching Rudolph the Tall White. People think I pull the piss out of him. I actually don't, because I actually find it quite infotaining. I think that's the word I would use. I'm not saying I honestly believe he's a tall white alien. I don't know Rudolph, but yeah. See, we watched this last time. Were you here, King Sweet, when we watched him like displaying his superhuman strength? I don't know if you were here for that one or not. What's this? 1 day ago, Rudolph the Tall White Alien.
Days go by, one by one, and nothing changes, no one can. I I don't care.
This man travelled across interstellar space. He chose to be here right now because it's a watery planet and he wants to help us. Not only that, he finds time to pen songs. Guy's a ledge.
You don't care. We sit out our lives on an empty chair.
Wait a minute. Hang on. Is that Whistles singing? Johnny Whistles, are you Rudolph the tall white alien? I'm only joking, Whistles. Whistles is gonna kill me.
Love is tired. Hate expired. I don't care. And you don't care. We sit out our life on an empty chair. People move from place to place, looking for something, a crack in space, a hole to hide in, face to face.
King, you can't. Lothar told us that it's like his cousin in Germany, dude. He like knows the cat. Could be.
I don't care.
Is that what Lothar hasn't told us yet? Is that like his next phone call waiting to happen? By the way, Kev, I'm actually a free Masonic alien.
And love is real. We're looking for something all day long. The streets are empty. We have no choice. The only companion.
I will listen, all joking aside. I tell you what, I agree with you, King. That is a deep and powerful tune. That is all joking and comedy aside. And like I say, I don't mind checking in on Rudolph. I really don't. Do I believe he's a tall white alien? I don't know. Probably not. Who cares? Is he harming anyone? I don't see him like saying, send me money and I'm going to save the world or I'm going to go and rescue all the children. I don't see any of that going on. I don't see him like forcing you into following him or believing something he's talking about. Crack on. The world needs Rudolph the tall white alien. That's why I say if we're going to be losing all of the bugs and insects out there, maybe 1 billion of the tall white alien will do.
It's our inner voice, and I don't care. You don't care. We sit out our lives on an empty chair, and I don't care, and you don't care.
You too, Jojo, my dear, you have a brilliant day. Night, afternoon, morning, whatever time it may be.
One by one.
It's a really dramatic tune to play us out, isn't it?
No one. I don't care, and you don't care. We sit out our lives on an empty chair.
Damn, Rudolph, that's heavy. Whistles and Rudolph, you can't have them in the same room. Look at that. Hang on, I actually think Rudolph might be the Whistler. Look. Oh, he definitely looks like the Whistler. Look at that there. He looks like the Whistler when he's got those glasses on. Look.
Greetings, my human friends, and once more, this is Rudolph of Germany, the tall white alien.
I love it, man. I love his accent. It's quality. But folks, it's been a blast. It's always a blast, right? The face of radio. I've got a face for radio, Pat. Absolute face for radio. Yes. Badly chiseled pile of insect dung at best. But yeah, Rudolph there. You know, like I say, that man travelled interstellar space to be with us today. I think the least we can do is check in from time to time. Ian says it's definitely... Ian, you know Johnny Whistles probably as well, if not better than I do, dude. Doesn't he look like the Whistler? There's something there. And I hope the Whistler's still hearing this. He'll be cracking up. He really will. But there's something about the Whistler in there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You know who just messaged me there, don't you? Oh, you better believe it. You better believe he just messaged me. Johnny Whistles, ladies and gents. Yes, indeedy. So, yeah. 3 months ago, the pole shift is coming. Oh, 322. I tell you what. It's like a skull and bones one, that. I don't want to play too much of his content. I really don't. Because it's just this whole algorithm thing on YouTube, folks. Even when people don't hit you with a copyright strike, you're fearful that the algorithm goes, oh, that's already been used, and it's crazy. Knock it off, you Scottish kipper. Mannerus agrees as well. I'm telling you, dude, look at that. That's Whistles with blue glasses on. That's like when Johnny was going through his Pink Floyd stage. I swear to you, folks, I swear. Now, but now you see, I know Johnny wouldn't ever be posting pictures about her shape-shifting in a secret portal. Ah, oh, dearie me, there's always one advert, isn't there? Always. Let me just change the camera. People saying, why don't you have ad blocker on, Kev? Why don't you have ad blocker on? I took it off, folks. I took it off. I know, it can be slightly annoying, but oh, here we go. This could be a good one. This could be a good one to finish off the show. The tall white alien talking about the shape-shifting queen.
Greetings to my human friends. Once more, Rudolph of Germany in the form of Karl II. The
Karl II.
clone of Karl I, which was also a clone of Karl the original.
Oh, wait a minute, right? Now, wait a minute. So, he's like Karl 2.0 or 3.0, because original Karl would be 1.0, and now he says he's like the remake of the remake. You with us? Cool.
Well, today we have a very special presentation. Today I want to show you an unofficial portrait of Queen Elizabeth II of England.
Please tell me that's not the portrait of her behind him. Please tell me. I don't think I can take this if he tells me that's the Queen.
And the Commonwealth. This painting being...
Oh, King Sweet, the metal detecting guy on Oak Island. Oh, Anne's ears will pick up now. No, he's from Gary Drayton, his name is. He's English. I'm not sure what part of England he's from, but definitely not Scottish. Definitely not.
Produced by myself is one of the most underrated, but nevertheless recognized masterpieces of the 21st century, as well as when it was produced of the 20th as well. Here we go. This portrait, before I show you more, it has to have an explanation going with it, very shortly. It's not an official portrait of a human-like figure. No, it is a portrait of a shape-shifting, rather, well, I don't want to say it, draconian maybe.
No, he went there. He went there. He's painted our shape-shifting draconian queen. And of course, being tall white, he probably knows people from Draco, right? Eh? Why not? Do you know anyone from... I don't. I've never been out there, but maybe Rudolph has. Maybe he recognizes the draconian.
entity in the process of shifting.
Oh, this is going to be brilliant. He's painted the Queen in mid shapeshift. we need some music for this, folks, before we get the grand reveal here. The grand reveal is going to be something pretty special, I think. Let's see. No, that's not it. Nah, we don't need that one either. Not that one. Definitely not that one. Shall we have the white hats? Where's the white hats gone? Where are you, white hats? No. No. Where's the white hats? Is somebody playing about with my music? What is... Ah, there they are. Here we go. Come on. Come on now. Here we go. We ready, folks? Are we ready for the grand reveal of one of the most recognizable masterpieces but underrated works of art in the world?
This is how I see her and her beloved family. This portrait shows Queen Elizabeth II during the process of shape-shifting from a human into the form of a draconian being. See for yourself. I don't want to keep you suspended any longer.
Oh, I'm suspended.
That's her. In the process of shape-shifting.
Disturbingly looks like her.
Underneath, you will see a dragon.
Oh, aye. He bloody has as well, look. He's got like the dragon wrapped around her. There's smoke coming off her.
This is the form she's taking on once she is completely shifted. This is the portrait, the real one, of this not so noble woman.
You're right there. Me and you finally agree on something, Rudolph.
Another look for you.
Folks, give Rudolph a sub. Give Rudolph a sub. Even if you don't think he's a tall white alien, I tell you what. I enjoy watching his little updates. I don't know about all of you out there, but I like to check in from time to time to see how our tall white alien friend is getting on. Wouldn't it be cool if one day the tall white alien actually watches the Kev Baker show? How cool would that be? How cool? We've had David Icke, we've had Geordie Rose. Maybe next we'll go for some intergalactic space travelers. Not going for time travelers, because everyone knows any time traveler that's worth his weight in seconds goes to Apex TV, right? You have all checked out Apex TV on YouTube. If you're into time travel, don't check it out, because it's going to infuriate you. It's the most clickbaity made up time travel in the world. But yeah, if there ever is a real time traveler, or if there ever is somebody that visits from another planet, maybe from inside our own, you can rest assured, if anyone's going to get them on, it's going to be yours truly. That is, if they pass the Kev Baker sniff test. Ah yes, many used to get by it in the past, but not so many now. And I don't know what I'm talking about anymore, so that signifies the time of night when I take my leave. And I thank all of you yet again. Time after time, you keep coming back to listen to what I've got to say. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes cracking shows. Sometimes we would rather redo them. I tell you what, I can't thank you all enough for your support. Whether it's just you being here, listening to the show, watching the show, whether it's the super chats, the memberships, the PayPals. Tell you folks, I would not be here without you. So on that note, remember to check out our new friend that we met today on the calls, Julian, his channel, Lessons for Life. Don't forget to check out my good friend Jason, First World Problems, his new trailer over on his channel. Check it out, First World Problems. He's going to a prison to do his next paranormal investigation. And last but not least, Yes, the potential intergalactic creeper that we have already. Rudolph, check him out, folks. Even if you don't believe him, I tell you what, he's infotaining. Until next time, keep searching for the woo, keep looking for info, keep your mind open, and don't let your brain turn to black goo. Until next time, folks, we're out of here. Kit, all the members, all the super chats, all the PayPals, and even everyone out there who can't support the show. Yous are all doing your bit. You really, really are. Nobody more important than the next person. All of us equal here. Might be my name on the door, but it's all of our show. And if you are still here, we'll give the last word of the night to one of our brilliant listeners out there, ZX81. This is the message to take from this show. Okay? 2 hours of radio, plus that little bit at the end. And this is the bit I want you to remember. This is the bit I want you to take away. Stay safe, folks. Be nice to somebody for no reason. If enough people do this, perhaps the world would be a better place. And that's why, if you're looking for the change you want to see in this world, look no further than the mirror. You right now listening to this, you're the change.